my special guest. We grow business and leaders that make the world better. Investor, business growth expert, inspirational speaker, and of course, an author. And one of her motto, earn from your mistakes. None other than Miss Terri Maxwell.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Miss Terry on Entrepreneurship 101. Can you please introduce more about yourself to that
Yeah, so I started the equivalent of a purposeful Shark Tank about 15 years ago and have been investing and growing entrepreneur businesses that both make a profit and make a difference. And I love what I do. We've got 5 businesses in our portfolio, and the 5th business is Shiftco. And I spend about 70% of my time there doing nothing but helping founders make more money, get their time back, but also make a bigger impact.
Well, we love that, Miss Terry. To earn more money, to produce more money as a money magnet mindset. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Here on Entrepreneurship 101, we celebrate you with so today let's talk about growing your business by maximizing impact. So tell us, Ms. Terry, you launched, sold, rebranded, and turned around more than 50 brands and achieved multiple exits, including NASDAQ IPO. Now you run your purposeful Shark Tank through Share on Purpose. What shifted you in between building for exit and building for impact? Was there a moment where success started to feel empty without meaning?
Yeah, it was in March of 2008, and I had a growth strategy firm that was a consultant to some of the largest brands in the world, helping them grow. And I felt like my soul was dying, growing things that didn't matter, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I knew the market crash was coming back in that time, and I decided to sell the business in pieces and start over with this crazy idea. There had to be a way to use my business growth skills to both do good and also make money. And that's when the Share on Purpose portfolio was built. And that has spawned off into a series of companies and a bunch of investments, all designed to use entrepreneurship as a path towards creating a better world. And it culminated a couple of years ago with the launch of Shiftco. And like I said, I spent about 70% of my time there. And I love it. And so, yeah, it was a purposeful awakening. I'll never forget it. It was both exciting and exhilarating and also scary at the same time. But every day I have the best job in the world.
Miss Terry, your conscious business growth platform sits at the heart of everything you do. What does conscious business actually mean in practice? Is it about the product, the people, the profit structure, or something more fundamentally about how founders or founder shows up?
Yeah, great question. So I believe that conscious business is a business model. There's lots of people out there doing it and talking about it, conscious capitalism, B Lab, others, and they talk about it as a movement. I consider it a business model. And there are 5 elements that we found related to a business model that separates a conscious business model from a traditional business model. One is how the founder approaches their product. Conscious founders look at their product and say, will this product solve a problem? And I'll give you an example. One of my investments is Your Izzy, and it's the first zero waste makeup and skincare line. And the founder said, I want to stop creating products that pollute our environment, and I want to create something that's totally sustainable and completely recyclable. And so he invented a product that does that. So product is number one. Conscious businesses, their founder looks at it and says, will this solve a problem? Number 2 is pricing. Pricing for conscious businesses is based on value. How much is it worth? What's the value equation? Whereas a traditional business says, what will somebody pay for this product? A conscious founder really looks at the value. Mark Cuban has a great example with cost plus drugs, and it's designed to be value based, and therefore, as a result of being value based, they don't need to spend as much money on marketing, and as a result of that, they can provide a better product for less money. And then third is success. Conscious founders are driven, and I mean driven, to both focus on building the profitability of the business, but also the impact. And so a conscious founder looks at their business from a lens of how can we make a difference? How can we make the world better on our way to making more money? And so those are three of the five things that distinguish a conscious business model from a traditional business model.
Well said, Ms. Terry. You say value wins, and that your work is about growing your business by maximizing impact. Some entrepreneurs believe impact is profitability and trade off. What do you say about founder who thinks they have to choose between doing good and doing well?
Yeah, everything in business is a trade off. And I think we make a big deal about this particular trade off. I made a big deal about it. I thought it was unique, and it really isn't. It goes back to the way that business used to be done. You know, my first entrepreneurial mentor was my grandfather way back in the day. And his favorite quote was, "Profit is the tip your customers give you when you serve them well." And so if you look at the origination of entrepreneurship, it started with these same core values of I want to make a difference, I want to provide an impact. And we kind of got lost, in the last 50 years. And entrepreneurship came about exit strategies and how much money and what's your valuation. But at the end of the day, good practical business is about providing more value. Value is simply what are the benefits of your product divided by the cost. Value is unique to the beholder of value, which would be your customer. But here's the best part. A high value equation means that the business is likely to grow organically because customers are going to buy, they're going to stay again, and they're going to refer. And when you have a high value equation, what happens is your customers become your marketing engine and they fuel your growth. And in most of my business, anywhere from 70 to 100% of our business comes through referrals. That's an example of having a business model with a high value equation. You shouldn't have to do a lot of marketing when you build the business that way.
Well said, Ms. Terry. You describe Share on Purpose as a business cultivator with a spectacular fund that invests in meaningful ideas. How is it different from a traditional venture capital or angel investing? What do you look for a founder or a concept that traditional investor might overlook?
Yeah, we look first and foremost at the founder and what is driving them. And are they really kind of adhering to those five components of the business model? And so the founder, it's like, are you looking at your product as I want to build a better widget and sell more widgets? Or are you looking at your product saying, I want to provide a better solution, I want to provide more value? And so that is first and foremost what we look for. Second is how they approach their target market. Third is how they approach their pricing. And then lastly is just the due diligence around it shouldn't be speed to market where I'm going to spend money to grow. It should really be responsible growth based on the value that you're providing. And so those are the components that we look for. We also look for businesses that are not new. So we don't invest in pre-seed opportunities. Usually we'll come in at the seed level. And we want them to have some momentum. We want them to really understand and have worked through the very rough start that all businesses have. I think most of early on investments, when I first started Share on Purpose, I lost a boatload of money, not understanding what to look for. I was kind of looking for the old way of what an angel would look at. And I just don't think that conscious business models work that way. And today we really pick apart their business model and we pick apart the founder's motivations for building it. And that's what causes us to want to take an investment.
Miss Terry, you invested in the world's first zero waste makeup and skincare brand, Urizi. What drew you to that specific investment, and what's market opportunity, the mission, the founder story, or the alignment with your own values?
Yeah, so we look for things like zero waste and solar and things along those lines. Human capital investments are another area. And so it's a sustainable makeup and skincare line, high quality, a great brand experience. But when I met the founder and I really looked at his motivation, it was a great story. He was looking at his daughter and realizing he was in the makeup industry and was a product engineer for some of the most well-known makeup brands. And he knew that personal care products are the second largest pollutant, followed only by water and drink bottles, and we know how bad those are. And he was like, I'm contributing to making the world a worse place for my daughter, and I just can't do that. And he set out on a mission to find a way to innovate a packaging solution that would deliver high quality makeup but not kill the environment in the process. And so once I met him and once I really saw the business model and I saw their retention rate and the referral rate, I knew that I had a winner, and it's probably my favorite investment to date.
You cultivated three distinct concepts: shift, co, ignite on purpose, and succeed on purpose, each serving different needs. How do you decide which business concept to cultivate next? Is there a pattern or a problem you are always looking to solve?
I look at the world's problems in terms of there's a business opportunity. So I see business opportunities everywhere, kind of like the movie where the kid says, "I see dead people, I see businesses." And so when I see a problem, I almost always see a business solution. And then the second thing I look at, because that's a very long list, is do I have somebody on my team that feels passionate about running it? Because I don't run, with the exception of Shifco, I don't run the other businesses. We train our leaders to run them for me. And so I need to have somebody on the team that feels equally as passionate about whatever that business concept is. And then third is can we create more value in the marketplace than the other competitors? And if I can get a high value equation, if I can find a leader on my team that is passionate about whatever that problem is and solving that problem, then it'll go on the drawing board for something to take to market.
Well said, Ms. Terry. You shared that 89.9% of founders using your Shift Co methods doubled their businesses. That's strategic statistic. What are the core methods driving that result, and why do you think they work so consistently across different industry and founder profiles?
Great question. So number one, the Shipco is based on a piece of IP that I built called the Conscious Business Growth Platform, and it's diagnostic prescriptive. So every founder that joins Shifco gets a different prescription based on the analysis of their business. So we do a full analysis of their business. We find what are they missing based on where they are and where they want to go, and then they get a unique prescription for just the things they need. So it's not like a group coaching program where everybody's going through the same thing. They go right to the thing that they need. If they need pricing help, we go to pricing. If they need website conversion, we go there. So that's number one. Number two is they work with an expert, and whatever that is, there's not just one master coach. There's over 20 coaches and mentors, all who have used the program to grow their businesses, and they come back and coach and support our members. So that's number two. And then the third thing that I'm most excited about is we also have personal components. We have breakthrough coaches and collabs where we work on mindset and confidence and speaking abilities and retraining your nervous system. And what I have found in the last few years, especially the last 4 years, is when we can work with the founder, not just on the business training, but on those personal areas, that's typically when the business really takes off, is when they have a breakthrough with their mindset or confidence or get their nervous system regulated, because entrepreneurship pushes every failure button that you have, and it dysregulates your nervous system, which causes you to be in what's known as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so we have several programs included in Shiftco that help them with those areas as well.
Ms. Terry, you've been named Small Business Mentor of the Year by NAWBO and receive an Outlive Yourself award. What do you think distinguishes the founders you mentor from those who never quite break through? Is it a mindset, skill, resilient, or something else?
It's two things. One is I have an incredible wealth of perseverance. I grew up very poor, was abused in every way possible, and so I have a level of grit that is pretty powerful. So that's number one. Number two is another lesson my grandfather taught me. I'm actually going to give you three. Another lesson my grandfather taught me is you get what you focus on. And I think most of the time founders start focusing on what's not working rather than what is. And so I have trained my brain to focus on where I want to go rather than what's not working. And then the third thing my grandfather taught me is do business with people who care about your business as much as you do. And I think the vast majority of people that I serve inside Shifco would say that I wake up thinking about how to help them grow. I go to sleep thinking about how to help them grow. I'm always innovating new ways to help them grow because I care about the work that they're doing. And so I think those are the three things that really has separated me throughout my career serving founders and helping them grow.
Congratulations, Miss Terry. Hoping for more and more amazing awards to come. You've experienced multiple exits, including the NASDAQ IPO. What did that IPO journey teach you about the difference between building a business that is attractive for acquisition versus building ones that genuinely sustainable and aligned with your values?
Yeah, wow, that was quite the journey. So I'm older than I looked, and the IPO happened in 1999. It was an internet company. I was president of their largest subsidiary, so I had a front row seat to taking a company public in the dot-com era, and everything was about kind of flash and story and sizzle and all that type of stuff. It wasn't really the business economics. And we had actually built a business that wasn't profitable, and we were banking on the future of the internet for it to become profitable. So the biggest lesson I learned is the business has to be profitable. You have to have that as the foundation. And then the second thing that I learned from that is that it's not about the hype. It's really about the consistent execution of value and delivering value better than your competitors that causes businesses to be more valuable in the marketplace. And so I live by that. One is the foundation of every business is profitability. You've got to build a plan to get to profitability. Second is to provide more value than your competitors, and the business will grow.
Well said, Ms. Terry. You were honored as an Outlive Yourself Award recipient. What does it mean to outlive yourself in business? Is it about legacy, succession, impact that extend beyond your own involvement, or something else entirely?
I think it's leaving people and customers better than when you found them. That's really the way I look at it. Is every employee that works for us, every partner that we partner with, every founder that I work with in Shifco, I want to leave them a little bit better having interfaced with us and our organization. And so I think people overcomplicate it, and they make it be about legacy and sustainability and succession planning, and all those things are just tactics. But at the end of the day, are you leaving the planet? Are you leaving people? And are leaving you partners in a better place than when they first met you?
Beautifully articulated, Ms. Terry. You've been featured in New York Times, Success Magazine, Fox, and CBS. With the level of visibility, how do you stay grounded and avoid the trap of believing your own press? What keeps you anchored?
We have a culture in our with our employee base where they call me out if I get too big for my britches, as my grandpa used to say, or if I'm going the wrong direction. So we've created a very open, transparent culture where our team members can really speak their mind. And I think that is first and foremost. And then secondly, is I want the value that we provide to be more a year from now than it is today. And so the awards and the accolades that I got are things I did in the past. So I keep myself focused on what's the value that I'm providing tomorrow, next week, next month. And my legacy will be built on that.
A legacy indeed. For the conscious founder listening who knows they want their business to make a meaningful impact but feel stuck in a day to day grind of survival, what is the first strategic shift they need to make it to start growing with intention?
Yeah, number one, it's to know that you can have it. I think when you've been grinding it out for a while, there's part of you that thinks it can't happen, and you get what you focus on. If you think it can't happen, it won't. Second is the diagnostics. On our website under resources, there's a couple of diagnostic tools to help people get to know themselves better, but also to help them isolate what they're missing in their business. And when you're building a business, there's always 50 things that aren't working, sometimes 100. But if you can identify the one that if you just address that one thing and you made that one thing better, the business would move forward. That's a much better use of time than trying to have a to-do list of 50 things that need to be addressed. And so it's prioritizing one thing at a time that you're going to really focus on to move the business forward. And then the last thing we teach people is to make moves rather than to be in motion. And too often founders are in motion. They're doing lots of stuff, but they're not really going anywhere. And so we train them like athletes. Athletes have trained their mind and their body and their nervous system to make moves and be strategic. And so when you have that focus and you know what that focus is, now it's about what are the moves that I can make today with that focus to move the business forward.
Well said, Miss Terry. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season too, comedy 101 fourth season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fifth season, science 101, sex 101 in fourth season, Trivia 101, Motivation 101, Spiritual Awakening 101, Entrepreneurship 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Coaching 101, and of course, my Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Terry, you've launched, sold, rebranded, and turned around more than 50 brands. If you could sit down with your younger self early in your entrepreneurial journey before the exits and the awards and give her one piece of advice about what truly matters in building a life and business of purpose, what would you tell her?
Stop stressing out. It's easier than you think it's going to be. I think we get caught up in all of the challenges and we make it harder than it needs to be. And if it's one thing, now that I'm in my 60s, I really focus on is just go with the flow. It's easier than what it looks like.
Well said, Ms. Tiffany. So can you please, Ms. Terry, sorry. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your projects, or anything you want to promote on Entrepreneurship 101?
Yeah, I think check out shipco.org, and under resources, you can attend free events. We do tons and tons and tons of free training as a way to introduce our work to people, but also to help them. So lots and lots of tools on there and the free training. Check it out.
Yes, people, less about Miss Terri Maxwell, because if you support her for more and more empowering business like this to rise. I have one more question, Miss Terri, before I will let you go. You work with founders to shift, ignite, and succeed on purpose. If a founder is trying to decide which path is the right for them, what questions should they ask themselves to assess whether they actually are versus where they want to be?
Yeah, on Shipco, there's a business persona assessment that I highly recommend, and it really helps you understand yourself better to know whether or not you're really meant to be an entrepreneur and then what type of entrepreneur you're meant to be. So under the resources tab, they can check that out. There's also a version of it on Succeed on Purpose. Not everybody is meant to build a business, and not everybody builds the business the same way. And when you can understand the type of founder that you are, or if you're even designed to be a founder, it can make the whole journey a lot easier.
Ms. Terri Maxwell, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. See you later.
Monica people, see you soon.